there, and welcome back to another tutorial. I literally feel like it's been forever since the last time I posted. However, we did get sick with the flu and then of course Christmas. For this tutorial, we are using a 20-ounce thick from MakerFlo Crafts, and it's going to be a vertical split design. Starting off, I cut out a template that would be half the size of this tumbler. Each half would be measured at 5.5 inches wide by 7.25 inches in height. Because I have plenty of extra vinyl, I just decided to cut out a template for the halfway portion of this tumbler instead of manually measuring and taping off. Once applied, I'm going to go ahead and measure again, making sure I have a 50-50 split, which I am about 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch off. So I'm going to mark off that extra piece right here and then remove that with my craft knife. While I get this all trimmed up, I want to add now that this is kind of an intricate design. I mean, it's not extremely difficult, but a lot of different slicing and offsets do go into this design, and mixing and matching pieces from one cut vinyl to another cut vinyl, which you will see as we go along. Technically, only 3 offsets, I believe, are created, but then they're duplicated. Again, as we go on, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and I will be showing soon here how I created everything in Cricut Design Space. For extra security on the edges of the halfway points, I decided to go in with some more painter's tape, but I will go ahead and cut it off at the bottom where the vinyl ends, and then use my striping tape, which is flexible, to mark the halfway point on the bottom of the tumbler, as I'm able to form it into the ridges that the bottom of the cup has. Now that the tumbler is fully prepped, we're going to go in with our first coat of paint, which is navy blue from Delta Ceramcoat. Going to hit it with the heat gun to fast track the drying, and then go in with a second coat of this paint, but this time it is a mix of the paint and some glitter glue for the next steps. I'm going to start out with a light dusting of Spaced Out by ChaseRae Glitters, and then do a full coverage coat of Nightfall, also by ChaseRae Glitter. Moving on to the opposite side, we're going in with a custom pink that I mixed up with just a couple of Delta Ceramcoat pink shades. Once again, the first coat is just paint all on its own, and the second coat will be a mixture of paint and glitter glue. For this side of the tumbler, I'm going to use the glitter called Stardust by Peachy Olive Glitters. You're only going to see one coat being applied. However, once everything was dry, I did go in with a second coat of Stardust. I did not go in with any secondary coats on the dark side, but I felt it was necessary on the pink side so it wasn't so in your face pink. Here I'm going in with a 50-50 mix of glitter glue and water to seal the blue side. And once that second coat was complete on the pink side, I also used the same method to seal that side as well. Once everything was dry, I went in with 40 ml of Flynn Sisters Fast Cure Epoxy. After cured, I did a heavy sand and then went in with another 20 ml of Fast Cure Epoxy so that the cup was not only smooth but glossy for the next steps. Let's head into Cricut Design Space so I can show you exactly how I created this design. Starting off with a shape, we're going to pick just a basic square here. I'm going to unlock the size dimensions and I'm going to make the width 5.5 and the height 7.25, which is the halfway dimensions of our tumbler. Now that that's created, we're going to create a text box, put in the word mama, and we are going to rotate it so that it is going to go vertically on the tumbler. This is the font Rainbow, which I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. I'm now going to size that text box to take up as much room as possible within our rectangle. I'm going to center it just to see how much space I have between the top of the rectangle to the text box and the bottom of the rectangle to the text box. From here, we're going to create an offset sized at 0.35. And that's going to be our basically faux peekaboo, which I'll explain further as we go along. So now we have our rectangle, which is the size of half a tumbler, our original mama text, and then the 0.35 offset of mama. From the original text mama, I'm now going to create another offset sized at 0.035. I'm going to highlight both the original text and the offset and slice them. And then go ahead and remove the middle section as you see here. I'm going to delete this mama right here. So now we have our outline and our original mama. And I'm going to repeat that step on that original 0.35 offset. So I'm going to create an offset of that offset of 0.035. Again, I'm going to highlight both, slice them from each other, and remove the center area and completely delete it. Okay, now we have another outline. Now we're gonna go back to our rectangle, which again serves as half of our tumbler, and we're going to place that original 0.35 offset inside that rectangle, center it, and then slice it out. This again will be what is the faux peekaboo portion of this design. So I'm going to remove the original offset, delete that sliced area, but I don't need the original 0.35 offset either, so I'm going to delete that as well. Here I have placed the original word mama inside, showing the white negative space. That is our faux peekaboo. The two thinner offsets we created serve as an outline for the outer portion of our peekaboo area and the original text mama. Here is everything put together minus the thin offsets, and what I'm going to show is I'm going to color this gray portion, which is that original 0.35 offset red, and I'm going to remove it, which is exactly what I'm going to do, but not until this entire rectangle is placed on the tumbler. So let's go. The rectangle and the original text mama will be cut out of two different pattern vinyls, and then the two offsets will be cut out of two different shimmer vinyls. So we're gonna have two copies of everything. The very first step here is to remove only the word mama from each rectangle, as they're going to be swapped. So the one cut out of the gray is going to go into the clear, and then the clear into the gray. The rectangle, the 0.35 offset, and the original text mama all were attached, so they cut out at the same exact time out of one piece of vinyl. So when we remove the original word mama, we want to be super careful because we need to place it on the opposite side, but we also want to make sure that we're not removing that 0.35 offset just yet. For the clear mama, I used transfer tape to pick it up off of the rectangle it cut out of to ensure no fingerprints were left behind. However, this is where I made my first mistake because it's clear and this background is extremely dark. We will fix that as we go along in this tutorial, but right here I am now removing that initial 0.35 offset, which essentially is creating our faux peekaboo. At this point, because it's such a dark background and I laid that clear vinyl down, it's hard to see the faux peekaboo, but it will show up soon here, I promise. Here I'm going to remove the transfer tape from the word mama, as I could not apply it to this clear backed vinyl with the transfer tape. I needed to place it by hand. So that's what I'm going to do. I do end up ripping the A somehow at some portion here, but you can't tell once it's put back together. I tried to use this backing to help keep a portion of the word attached so I didn't get it all wrapped up all over me and stuck to places it didn't need to be stuck to, but it was actually more difficult this way than it was just to remove the entire thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it all off, and honestly this was actually really easy to apply just by hand, no transfer tape. Literally, I could not get it attached with that transfer tape at all. I couldn't line it up, but this way worked really well. Here's where you can see half of the A, and then I'm gonna go in here with the other half of the A. But thankfully, with the pattern, you could not see one area of defect or where that rip was. So now we're going to apply this half of the vinyl onto the tumbler, literally in one fell swoop. So much easier than how I did it on the blue side. Here I'm going to be very careful that I do not touch the backing of this clear vinyl to ensure I do not leave any fingerprints behind, as they will show through and we don't want those in our final design. Here I am going to remove that 0.35 offset to reveal the faux peekaboo area of this side of the tumbler, which will show up a lot more when I have the other offsets applied to both sides. Earlier in the video, I had stated how I had made my first mistake here, and here's how we're going to rectify it. So I removed the clear vinyl and I reprinted Mama not only in the clear vinyl but also on a baby blue vinyl so that it will actually show up in this dark area. Now that the blue vinyl is down, I'm going to overlay the clear vinyl on top of it. And boy, what a difference it makes with that baby blue vinyl underneath. I'm using parchment paper to help me see my placement, and then kind of the hinge method with my transfer tape to hold my placement where I want it as I move along the word. Now with the first layer of vinyl applied, I went in with 20 mLs of Flynn Sisters Fast Cure Epoxy, and I did not sand once cured. Here is my very first 0.035 offset of the word Mama. All the vinyl used for my offsets and pinstriping are TeckWrapCraft, and the pattern vinyl used came from Crescent Butterfly Design Co., and you can find her on TikTok. Where both sides of the tumbler are the same and have the same exact offsets, I'm only going to show one side being done. The only difference is the offset for Mama on this side is pink, and on the opposite side it is blue. Now the next offset I do on this side is going to be blue, while the opposite side will be pink. This is not just a vertically split tumbler, but also a lot of opposites as well within the entirety of the design. After placement of these thin outlines, I did go in with my tweezers from TeckWrapCraft just to assist with some tune-ups on the line work itself. Now that all of that's done, time to do the pinstriping. The first set of pinstripes that I am applying to this tumbler were cut at 11.5 inches wide by 0.15 inches in height. I cut the second set of pinstriping out at 11.5 inches wide by 0.07 inches in height. I'm placing the second set of pinstriping directly in the center of the first set of pinstriping. I've had this concept in my head for so long. I could not wait to get on a tumbler, and I am so happy that I did. As the design is coming to life, I'm truly falling in love with this cup more and more. While doing both layers of pinstriping, I did wrap everything around the bottom. However, I do cut that off and remove it. On the darker side of the tumbler, I had used the baby blue vinyl in order for that clear backed vinyl, or the design on that clear back vinyl, to show up. And so I wanted to bring in more of that baby blue. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm using my striping tape as a guide for gapping in between the original pinstriping and where I'm going to place the blue pinstriping, just so that they have an even gap all the way around the tumbler. So there's going to be a baby blue stripe on both sides of each midway point for the vertical split. After I applied those first 2 baby blue lines, I let the cup sit. And I looked at it and needed to make a decision whether I wanted those to stay or not to stay. And it wasn't until the very next day that I made the decision that I liked how they looked, and so I proceeded and added them to the opposite side as well. And now for the bottom. As always, I like to do something unique that is cohesive with the rest of the tumbler. And so what I have done is created 2 half circles. They are 1.5 inches wide, so that when I put them together, they are a total of a 3-inch diameter circle. I then cut a 3-inch circle out of the clear backed vinyl, and I'm going to overlay that over the 2 halves, which gives the illusion of another vertical split. For the placement on the bottom of the tumbler, I am going to go with opposites and place the pink side on the blue portion of the tumbler and the blue side on the pink portion of the tumbler. I am going to split the circle with another thin pinstripe of the same baby blue vinyl. My business name is a little hard to see here as I used 2 shimmery vinyls, which are the same ones that I had used for my offsets. But I'm going to place it so half of my business name is on one half of the circle and the other half of my business name is on the other half of the circle. We're going with a vertical theme here, or a half and half theme. After all this work, I did a quick seal of polyacrylic, and then I went in with 20 mLs of Flynn Sisters Artist Cure Epoxy, and it's all done. After all that chaos, all of the offsets and slicing, I'm absolutely in love with how this tumbler came out. It was a lot of work, but certainly worth it in the end. If you liked this week's tutorial, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again next week with a brand new tutorial. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday filled with family and friends and love and joy. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.